The Nissan Nation Podcast is a presentation of DRB and KGB Media.
Recorded live, coast to coast, it's the Nissan Nation Podcast. From camping, racing, and all points in between. The NNP is your Nissan Nation Podcast. Now start your engines and welcome in the hosts, David and Danny.
What is going on, Nissan Nation? From all things Nissan here in Middle Tennessee to parts unknown, this is your Nissan Nation Podcast. I'm your host, David Boyd. Nice to talk to you. Nice to fill your ear holes for a few minutes. Hopefully everybody had a good break here in the States. We had our Thanksgiving. Our listeners over in other countries may not understand that, but we give thanks for taking over this land, however you want to view it in these awkward times. But we do give thanks, and it's more of to me, it's a family time. It's a family, kind of refocus, get back to family a little bit. You've got the Christmas season coming up, Kwanzaa, whatever you celebrate, Hanukkah. I don't know. I could make up one, start our own religion. We'll start the Nissan religion. We'll say that the 25th of December is now Nissan, the day of birth. But anyways, Danny, as you can tell, is not with me. It's kind of sad. It's very sad. But Danny's been on, Danny's fall has been like crazy. We both like to do adventures, but Danny kicks it into gear, and this year he's really kicked it into gear. He, last time I talked to him, he was up in one of the Dakotas, somewhere Montana, I think, big game hunting. And, if any of you that follow Mr. Groders, he did it one day. He did it in his action suit Groot outfit. So the pictures are up. They're crazy. I'll post some on our Instagram. Danny is there was a couple pictures where it shows Danny. It looked like he'd fell asleep out in the prairie somewhere. As I take a nice chug of some Gatorade right there. Gatorade, if you'd like to sponsor the Nissan Nation Podcast, please give me a shout out. I'm a big fan of yours, along with Monster. But so, anyways, get back to it. So yeah, Danny's been big game hunting. I know he just got back in time for the holidays. Danny, that's a well-deserved break for Danny. He, my amigo, my brother from another mother. He's been just all over. And poor Danny needs a break, man. Danny's got his race truck. He's got some businesses he's trying to run. He tries to do the podcast with me. Give old Danny a look at. He's got him an Instagram page called Dog Groot. Or I think it's Dog Groot X. You can find him. You'll see his picture pop up. Go look on Instagram. You'll find him. He's promoting all of his little all of his craziness over there. And of course, we have a Nissan Nation Podcast Instagram. And if you'd like to be featured on it, if you will email us at the website, www.nissanpodcast, or you can use the old nissannationpodcast.com. Send us a picture, too. For you, whatever you do in your Nissan, car, truck, hell, forklift. I don't care, man. Just, we want to give a good representation there to the Instagram world of the Nissan brand. And so I was scouring news. I'm like, man, how am I gonna do a show without Danny? Danny's like I always feel like I'm the guy that kind of holds the reins down of the show and keeps it in line a little bit. And Danny, he can go off in tangents and go crazy. And I don't have my amigo there. And I'm scouring the web pages, going, man, I gotta find some Nissan news, anything, something. And, of course, this time of year, there is no Nissan news to be had. Normally, I think the LA Auto shows right now, I haven't, usually it's towards the late. I know it's always around my birthday, which, happy birthday to me. But, I haven't seen anything posted about it, and honestly, I haven't searched much about it. But, I know Jeep was supposed to do some announcements here. I think they were supposed to push the new Wrangler, but blah, blah, blah. It's Jeep. Who cares? But so it's like slim pickings today, guys. Their 2018 focus, I know, starting out is the Leaf, the new 2018 Leaf, and we've talked about it a little bit. Thing is nuts. I know they're building them now at the plant. I like the new design a lot better than the last design. It still has that kind of overall I don't know, the aerodynamics package I would say is pretty similar to the last one, but I like that. Not a lot going on with Titan right now. Armada, they're for all the auto companies right now. This is a big reset. They kind of let's get these last months in for sales wise, and other than that, it's refocused, because you've got in January you get the big Detroit Auto Show, and that's usually where for your American cars, that's the Super Bowl to me of the auto shows, and it kind of sets the tone for the year for all these auto manufacturers. I really want to get up to that this year. If anybody has a way to help me get up there, I would greatly appreciate it. I know my buddy Moto Man and all those guys, they will be up there covering the event. I really feel like Nissan's going to pull something out of their hat this year. They've been real quiet. They just haven't talked a lot about their plans. And I know through some of my dealership connections and even at the headquarters over there that they've been working on things. My Frontier people, you're going to be sad, and we've reported this last show that the Frontier's not changing. They're doing a couple things like the Midnight Edition, which is a good-looking truck, don't get me wrong. But they're doing some things like that, and overall focus is, I know there's the Maximus coming up, the Ultima, like we've talked. Ooh, there was Miss Kelly on the podcast telling me it's dinner time. That's the great thing about doing podcasts, people can interrupt you, and we're just going to leave it, because why the hell not? But anyway, so I got a feeling they've got something planned. They're unusually quiet. They in all my contacts have been quiet too, so that's what really makes me think that the Detroit Auto Show is going to be something. But to that's enough, Dave. We've got a long one. We've got a long interview. So let me give you a little background. So my buddy Nestor, who he's a trail guide for us at the Windrock event I do each year. He was kind of a out of the blue guy, like dealing in the forums and stuff. You get to know people, and you never may meet them, but you just kind of get to know them and their personalities and stuff. But normally they kind of creep in. Well, my buddy Nestor, man, all of a sudden, just bam, out of nowhere, here's this guy that converted his two-wheel drive Frontier into a four-wheel drive. And as we talk in the interview, he used a trip at Windrock with me and a few others to test it out, basically. And he drove all the way from Orlando, I think it was, to do that. And it seems like that would be just driving from Orlando to East Tennessee. That would have been more than I could handle. But some of you guys, you gearheads, man, you just trust what you do, and my hat's off to you, because I'm a slight gearhead, but I generally don't trust anything I do. So he came up there and wheeled with us, and still I didn't really know him till I think it was in XM3 that he really popped in, and I got to know him a little bit, and we really grown to like him a lot. Me and Luke, we've really he is a solid guy, man, and he's just a salt of the earth kind of guy, and he's the kind of guy that what he says he means, and you'll get a little piece of that in this interview, because we had some storms come up for this year's event, and when one of your people that help you run the event, they got a hurricane coming through their house, what are they supposed to do? And so let's without further ado, let's give it to Mr. Nestor Camacho and see what he's up to. So on the podcast now, we have Mr. Nestor Camacho. Nestor, what's going on, man?
Not much, man. Every day, same thing, different day.
Different day. Well, you are a Frontier guy, right?
Absolutely. Till the day I die.
Well, I'm a hybrid, man. I do miss my Frontier. I will say that. But so I got to know you a little bit through, I guess it was really the forums a little bit. And And then, like, you'd found out the Xterra guys were doing some trips, and that's really kind of the first place. After I met you at Windrock that time, I don't know how you really found us, but after I was like, okay, there's a Frontier guy. And then I seen your build was everywhere, and it was super popular because you did some special things to your truck. But how did we meet, man?
Well, you know what? I didn't actually I was never into like trying to find an Xterra off-road group or anything really. Like, I had a guy I knew when I was in Alabama he was like, he saw my truck. He's like, dude, your truck is cool. You know, it used to be a 2-wheel drive. Now it's a 4-wheel drive. That's pretty cool. Hey, I'm going off-roading in Tennessee. You want to come with? And I was like, sure, why not? Never done it. Let's do it. And next thing you know, I popped up with you guys, and I've followed you around ever since. I was like, oh, this is pretty neat. And then the next year, it was like, literally, I went from the easy group to the difficult group. Like, from one year to the next, I said, screw it. You know, if I'm gonna go, I'm gonna go all out.
Right, which is what it seems like with you, man. Because I do remember the first time. I think you were with Ryan's group or something at Windrock when we did a Xterra run or something.
Yeah,
I feel like you were, and and of course, you know, I think y'all probably did 22 and some stuff like that up there. But you know, and they can be. I think it was it was a fall, so it could have been a little sloppy. Didn't you guys there were some logs or something you had to move, or it seems like there was something?
So I was with, I'm pretty sure people know him from the forum, Bluegrass. Yeah, so he was my trail leader that year. And first time off-roading, I didn't know anything. So I was like, you just followed him. And I was like, cool, let's go. You know, we went up 22 from the trailhead. And I really didn't know what I was doing. I was just following people, and every time I heard a rock or something like that, I freaked out. But I was like, I remember put the tire over the rock, put the tire over the rock, screw it, go for it, you know. And my friend at the time, you know, he was any little scratch, he like jumped out of the car, and I was like, dude, forget about it, let's keep going, you know, this is fun. And 2022, I think I got stuck. No, in 22, I did not get stuck, surprisingly enough. It was on, like, 27 or 26 where there was a rock garden. Mm-hmm. And I got stuck over the dumbest little tiny rock. It lifted my control arm, and I had to get yanked out. I felt so embarrassed. Like, it was so embarrassing for me. But then, you know, I thought it was kind of funny at the same time because I was like, man, you know what? I'm a Frontier. I'm longer. You know, this is kind of normal. It should be normal. I was running street tires.
I was gonna say you were on some tiny tires back then too.
Yeah, I was running on 29s.
Yeah. That's funny. Of course, Mr. Bluegrass, and he's not the most like gonna show you how to go up things. He's a follow me guy.
Yeah, he was a follow me guy, and I did my best. And you know, he always kind of laughed at me because he was just like a stock Frontier out of all things, you know. I think the only thing I had done is a 4x4 conversion. There wasn't much to it.
Right. So which leads me into that. What got you into Nissan, man? And then we'll kind of cruise into your conversion there.
Oh man, so it all started when I was born. So really, I was born. My dad had a 78. I think it was an 86 hard body with the freaking holes are on the floor, and like it was rotted, but it was a hard body. It was a black hard body. Now he took me home in it.
Wow.
You know, and it was like my dad's always been a Nissan hard body guy. Mm-hmm. He loves his Nissan hard bodies. So I kind of grew up around it. You know, he had one here for like 10 years, and he sold it with 200,000 miles. The guy still has it for like. I think he has close to 420,000 miles on it, and he's still running it.
Wow.
And so I said, you know what? I want my own. So at the time I had a Jetta. Mm-hmm. And
we all make those.
We
all make those mistakes, man. I've owned a Jetta.
Hey, man, it was my first car. It was for $500. I said, all right, cool. Manual Jetta, fun, cool. And then I got the working life, you know, and I started making my own money, my own little thing. And I was like, I need a truck. I need to put some stuff in the back and go do stuff, you know. And I was like, I want a Frontier. I set my mind. I want a Frontier. I don't want nothing else. I want a Frontier. And I didn't like the first generation Frontier, where it was like, you know, that square look in the front, that disconnected bumper. Mm-hmm. I kind of like that smoother look in the front. So I looked for an 01 to 2004. I mean, in Florida, you don't really need a four-wheel drive. So I was like, screw it. I want a two-wheel drive. It's cheaper on gas,
right.
Whatever. So I started with that. I actually bought it with a blown motor, completely blown motor. The actual motor was actually warped so severely that it sounded like a diesel. And so I drove it like that for 17,000 miles before the engine blew apart.
Intentionally, you just were like, and you were just like, screw it, I'm just gonna till it dies.
Yeah, exactly. Well, it was so bad, and I didn't have the money at the time. You know, I had just started college. I just, doing this, and I was like, screw it, I'm just gonna run it until it blows up. I was in Alabama, and I was driving back from Alabama, and the engine blew up. So I rebuilt it. Actually, the motor was so bad, I threw it away. I grabbed another one from a minivan, transferred all the parts over, rebuilt the whole engine, and put it in there. I drove it for about 7,000 miles or so, and I went to Alabama again to my buddy's ranch, and we were gonna go canoeing. So he was right next to a river. Mm-hmm. So we were going down this hill, we're going canoeing, it started downpouring. He had a Jeep. He had a little Wrangler TJ, and we were there. The river was so bad that we're like, screw it, we're not going to do this. So he backs up, and he struggled. He had to put it in four-wheel drive backing up. He knows my truck's on street tires on the mud in two-wheel drive. So he struggles. He goes, dude, I don't know how you're going to make it. So I back up. I get stuck. And I was like, oh, God, here we go. He pulled me for about 200 feet up a hill, and I was driving backwards, and he was going forward. So I almost slid off the side of the hill, into the river, and we went all the way up. We got out, and from that moment on, I was like, okay, that's it. I need to figure out how I'm going to do this four-wheel drive. Right. I'm going to see if this is even possible. And I started doing a lot of research. It took me about 6 months of research, just properly aligning everything.
Well, I can. You're a spreadsheet guy, man. So I can imagine you had it all worked out.
I'm a spreadsheet guy, so I had everything. Okay, what model, what year, what transmission, what's the cabling? I took all the wiring, diagrams. I disassembled both of them. I made sure what needed to go where. I just pre-planned everything 100%. Mm-hmm. Once I knew what every single component, I was ready. I first found a junk. I was working in Georgia. I found a junkyard about 20 miles from me that had the front differential, whole assembly, the whole knuckles differential with the same gear ratio. It came with the axles, and then the drive shaft. So I got all that in one shot. Mm-hmm. I got it for like $700. I was like, cool, got it. Now let's start. About a week later, I went to buy the transmission and transfer case from another side of Georgia because I could not find it in Florida. Florida was like a wasteland. You could not find a Frontier anywhere, not even in the junkyard or an Xterra.
Well, that sounds like here. We can't find them either.
Yeah, so it was like, all right, so where do I go? So I went to west side of Georgia near Columbus, and they had a crashed supercharged 03. I mean, it was mangled. It was completely, there was no saving it. It only had 90,000 miles. So I was like, I want the transmission and transfer case. Right. And I make sure that don't cut the wiring harness. What did they do? They cut the wiring harness. Of course. So he's like, oh, do you want the drive shaft too, the rear drive shaft? And I was like, I took a quick measurement. I was like, sure, why not? Throw it in there. So I got all that for like about $900. Now, granted, you can get it cheaper nowadays, but back then, in 2011, it was still a 5-year-old, 6-year-old truck. There wasn't a lot out there. So I was like, okay, cool, let's do this. I got home. My dad just looked at me. I drove 4 hours from Georgia to Florida, and my dad looked at me and goes, "You're out of your damn mind. How are you gonna do this?" And I said, "I got it. I got a whole bunch of research. Don't worry, I'll do it." And I spent 2 weekends refurbishing all the parts, new bearings, painting them, taking all the rust off, ensuring the transmission was good. Everything. I went head to toe. I'm very meticulous with all my stuff. Right. And so I did that for about 2 weekends. I made sure everything was 100% ready to go, all my bolts, everything. I was like, cool, ready. And I came back. I hauled ass back on a Friday, I left early. I think I left around like 9 o'clock from work in Georgia because I had gone in early. I got home around 1 o'clock in the afternoon. By 6 o'clock in the afternoon, the transmission was out, the cross members was out, the front hubs were out, everything was sold disassembled. The next day, we prepped the transmission, we did all the wiring, put it all up, and the third day, we finished it all off. Funny thing is, I was missing so many bolts, I spent about $150 on bolts alone. So always remember bolts.
It's
amazing. Forget those guys.
I know of course it's just basic manufacturing, but it always amazes me when you go to pull the front clip off of a truck. You're like, God, this was so simple, you know? It's like, and then you think about it. Well, yeah, it has to be simple because you know they get 10 minutes each part to put it on the truck.
Right, absolutely. And you know, the biggest thing is that you know the Desert Runner, out of all the Frontiers, the Desert Runner and the crew cab are the only ones that come on a 4x4 chassis. Huh. So, I mean, other than the 4x4s, obviously, but if it's in two-wheel drive, the crew cab and the King Cab Desert Runner are the only twos that come that way. So that's always like, that gave me a huge, big benefit. I always liked the Desert Runner style. So that's kind of, what really sold me was the wheels. So that's kind of how I went with that. And then in 3 days later, I had the whole thing 4-wheel drive ready to go. And, you know, I was test driving through in the street, which I shouldn't have, but I did it anyways. And yeah, I ended up with you guys that probably like 2 months later.
Well, what, I'm always nervous. Like, of course, I'm a horrible mechanic, and I mean, I like doing it, but I wouldn't trust me. So I know the first couple drives had to be, because I know with my Xterra, man, taking it out for the first time, I was like, oh my God, every squeak, man, every little you hear, you're like, oh, I broke it. What's going on? No, for me, the first couple drives, I got my nerves out after the first like 5 miles. I'm not kid you not. I knew everything was bolted down. I know my work. I've been doing this for a long time, so I was like, okay. I know I rechecked everything. You know, my dad at the time before he retired, you know, he was doing all this stuff. Right. So he was, you know, he double checked me. He's been doing this for 30-something years. So we knew each other. We knew how everything went. We knew that everything was okay. First couple times I heard a couple clicking noises and stuff like that, little noises, but I got used to it. I knew that everything was good. Nothing was binding. Nothing was interfering. So I just kind of let it go, and I let the truck kind of work its way out, and then I understood the truck afterwards. And I was like, okay, cool. Never had a problem. But it probably only took me about like 5 miles. As a matter of fact, I take that back. It didn't take me 5 miles. It took me, 5 miles. That same afternoon on Sunday, I think I left around 4 o'clock. I drove 250 miles right afterwards. Oh, my God. I could not have done that one.
Oh, yeah, man. I was like, gung-ho, let's go, you know, let's test this puppy out. I'm not afraid of it.
So now you have 4-wheel drive. I mean, I would think you're itching to kind of go, hey, it's time to use 4-wheel drive, man.
Yeah. Actually, the first time I used it, I pulled this huge-ass log from the side of a mountain in Alabama. We were trying to make a huge bonfire. Mm-hmm. The tree was longer than my damn truck, and it was like, it had to be at least like 4 feet wide. The trunk, you know, was knocked down. Right. And that was the first time I actually tested it out, like pulling something. And I think after that, I didn't have an itch anymore. It was more like a security blanket. Like, I wanted to know if I want to go kayaking in the middle of a river somewhere, or if I go like, you know, I don't know, wherever I go, I decided to go, I have a security blanket that I can just pop it in 4-wheel drive and drive out.
Right. Isn't it amazing, what I call 4-wheel drive balls? What instantly you're like, yeah, I've got this.
Yeah, it's crazy, man. It's just like you jump in, you're like, oh, screw it, man. I can get out of here.
Yeah, it's a little bit of that Jeeper syndrome of, you know, people buy Jeeps that have no experience and they go, well, I've got this. You do experience that just a little bit with your first 4-wheel drive.
Yeah, that's actually, kind of, I did that a couple times. I actually underestimated myself a couple times, like, ooh, and then got through it, and then sometimes I was a little too confident, and I was like, okay, I screwed myself over. But really, I think in all honesty, I only took it out about 2 or 3 times before I met you guys in Tennessee.
Right.
So it wasn't like a lot. I didn't have a lot of experience with it. I wasn't much of an off-roader. I was more of a street tuner guy. So
see, and back then I didn't even know you had zero experience with that stuff.
Oh yeah, zero, none. Like all I knew is that I understood my truck. I understood what it does. I knew my driving habits, but I wasn't comfortable off-roading.
Right.
But I guess, I mean, even when you teach people off-roading, you know, in Went and stuff like that, or anywhere you go, it's always nerve-wracking the first time. But once you get that first off-road experience under your belt, you get a little bit more tempting. You get a little more anxious. You want to do a little bit harder. That's kind of how my end, you know, when I went off-roading with you guys, I did the basics. I did the, you know, easy level, basically easy group. And then the next year I was like, screw it. I want to do something harder. I want to challenge myself. I know my truck. I know my capabilities. I know my limits. Let's go all out. Let me push me and my truck to the absolute limit before I fail, you know? And so the very next year, I put 32s, mud terrains. I lifted it 3 inches. Actually got a little more than 3 inches. I got about 4.5 inches the first year. You know, I put a winch in there using a Jeep bracket.
Yeah, because you made your own winch plate, right?
Right. So I, at the time, couldn't afford the big, nice bumpers.
Sure.
So, but I always looked at the Dodge Power Wagons, that they always come with a factory winch in the front. So I was like, that's cool. I want to do that. So I took a couple measurements, and then I went online, and legitimately I spent hours of days looking for a plate that met really close measurements. So I had found a 83 CJ winch bracket that was like within an inch. So I was like, cool. Now that it's within an inch, I'll just re-drill the holes where I need them to and drill the holes in my chassis, and there you go. So then I just cut the front bumper to mold around the winch. Right. And now I have my own hidden winch the way I did it. So I kind of, you know, some second gens have that capability just because they're a little bit wider and they're nicer, and there's a little more aftermarket support for that, right? For the winch plates, but I didn't have that big capability, so I just kind of just started mix matching around until I found it.
Well, these again, and these things play into your background a little bit because you graduated from University of Alabama, right?
No, University of Central Florida.
Oh, sorry, Central Florida. I was going to say I knew you went to Alabama, but
yeah, I went to Alabama for 3 years.
But a lot of these things play into your curiosity and your strengths of being an engineer and stuff, of wanting to try things and just do it.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I was always the annoying little child that always want to rip apart everybody. You know, everything I could find, I want to tear it apart just to figure it out. Right. And my dad wanted to just basically control me a little bit, so he channeled that in. At 8 years old, he's like, come to the shop, I'm gonna have you learn what it is to be a mechanic. Right. So at 8 years old, I started learning what tools are and how they are, and then I started learning where alternators are, starter. Those are actually my first 2 things I used to change all the time at 8 years old.
Little hands, man.
That's really why he used me, because I had small hands. But I changed the alternators and starters. And then he got me into a little harder things, belts and things like that. So from 8 years old, I started this, and I thought it was pretty cool. But my family, my dad used to design cooling systems for cars, and he's an electrical specialist, like master tech of electric. So his thing is the engine and electrical. My uncle, on the other hand, my dad's twin, also a mechanic for longer than my dad has been. He's a suspension and body specialist. So he also knows the engine very well. So I kind of learned from both trades all around the car, you know, suspension, engine, and transmission. And that's kind of, and my parents are, you know, old school. If it's broken, let's fix it, not replace it. Right. So my mentality kind of grew up from there, and just like, let me replace it, let me fix it, let me try to engineering, basically what engineers used to be back in the 1950s. Just engineering. Don't try to buy something that just slaps on. Figure it out. Use your curiosity. Use your mind to actually figure this problem out. And that's kind of how it went with my truck. I didn't have the money, but I had enough money to buy other parts that weren't for this truck and make it work for that car.
Right.
That's kind of how all my cars have been, especially that one. The Frontier has been that way.
Well, I think some people call that cheap, man.
I am very cheap. I am very cheap. But I don't like being... I like being cheap. Everybody likes cheap. But I like being cheap, but I know when something's got to be done right, and when something's got, I can cheap out on. I don't cheap out on what has to be done right. And if I do have to cheap out on it, I'm going to make sure that thing works 100,000 times before I even put it in there.
Wow.
So, I guess I'm more confident with cars as my natural environment. I'm not afraid to put something that might destroy the car. I'm not afraid of it. I know that if it breaks, I'm going to fix it. There's always a fix.
Right.
There's always a fix. The only thing you cannot fix is a human body, but you can fix a car.
That's like we'll say you are me and Luke combined, because Luke is like, of course known us from Wint and everything, but Luke's that guy like, just let's slap something on there, let's go. And I'm like too cautious, and you're like the perfect balance of me and Luke, because you're like, no, dude, it just does it. Just come on.
Yeah, I never really worried. It's funny because now that you say that, a similar issue happened the second year I was there. I was with Luke. We were in Trail 3. It was the first time I ever did difficult group. Trail 3 was pretty gnarly back then.
Yeah, that was a great trail.
So it was a phenomenal trail. So I had full skid plate. I was so confident. I was like, screw it, dude, let's go. My buddy Manny, he's the same kind of guy. He's a gun-ho kind of guy. So we went through it, and it was on a rock garden, and there was a couple water, it was water drizzling all over the rocks. So it was kind of slick. People went down the right side because it was a little bit easier. I was like, screw it, let's go down the left. Nobody does
is this the climb? Is this the climb that used to be on 3?
The climb before that.
Okay.
So right before that, there's a little water garden.
Yeah.
The rocks. Yeah, right before that huge climb, that's where we got stuck. So I went up there, again, confident. Screw it, if it breaks, it breaks. I'm not afraid of it. I only had, $50 to my name, but that's all right. It's okay. Let's go. So we go there, and we're going down the left. It's a lot harder, especially for a long wheelbase truck. And we're going, and Luke's like, just keep trying. Okay, reposition. So what happened was, I guess none of us saw it coming. Obviously, things like this always happen, but my tire on my driver's side got wedged. It's so tight that it literally locked up the front wheels and was putting a lot of stress on my motor. Mm-hmm. So next thing you know, he goes, bump it. When I bumped it, I heard a loud pop and a loud bang, and then the whole truck shook. And I was like, great, I broke a CV. But then I put it in reverse, and it grabbed just fine. I was like, hey, is anything broken? They're like, no, I don't see any parts on the floor. So I was like, all right, let me try it again. So when I put it from reverse to drive, I saw my 4x4 lever move like 4 inches. And I was like, that's not normal. And I put it in reverse again, and it moved again. And I put it in drive, and then the 4x4 lever moved again. I was like, I think I broke a motor mount. And they're like, oh, you're fine. So as I'm accelerating, the loud banging I kept hearing every time I accelerated was the engine hitting the hood.
Oh, wow.
Of the car. So, and Bill from
Wisconsin,
up there in Chicago.
Yeah.
He was like, old school Bill. He was just like, it's fine. Let's keep going. He goes, if it breaks, it breaks. Let's keep going. And it's just like, and it's loud. Everybody's kind of like, man, this thing is loud. Like something must have really broke. So I finally was able to get out, and I drove about probably 10 feet or so. I jump out of the car. I opened the hood, and I looked at him, and I got under, and I was like, man, nothing's broken. So at that time, that's where I met Joel. Mm-hmm. So we all gathered around. A couple other people gathered around and goes, you find anything broken? I was like, no. Hey, Manny, jump in the car and put it in drive, put your foot on the brake, and accelerate. when he accelerated, it looked like the engine was about to fall out of the car. So, me being an old school, fix it where it's at and screw it. I checked around. And I was like, I need a ratchet strap.
Yeah.
And, Manny looked at me. He goes, what are you about to do? I'm like, just watch. So me thinking, okay, my truck only produces 200 foot-pounds of torque. Yeah, I don't think I'm going to break a 600-pound,
right.
Ratchet strap. So I grabbed it and I ratcheted the motor down on the chassis, and I drove the rest of the way that way. And that's where you sold me the
oh, that's right. Yeah,
motor mount.
The Rugged Rocks motor mount. Yeah,
absolutely. Yeah, and I still have it to this day. I still drive it.
I still have the other one too.
Yeah, actually, the motor mount on the passenger side is still the original one from.
It's always driver's side that does that, and it's just the torque of the engine and just a bad design.
Yeah, I mean, it's such a torquey motor. Mm-hmm. But, I was like, screw it. I'll ratchet the motor down. Let's keep going. I kid you not, I get about 300 feet, and that's where Joel blew up the CV and the diff at the exact same time. Right. He was just in front of me. I was right behind him. I go up, and my power steering hose just explodes. So that day was just carnage for everybody. And I fixed it with electrical tape, kind of patched it up, put some more power steering fluid, kept going, and actually right at the very end, my power steering locked up and I almost drove off the cliff. Oh, crap. Because I had to hug the cliff and then get the hill climb a better angle. Mm-hmm. But when I started hugging the cliff, the power steering got stuck and I couldn't move the steering wheel. So the steering wheel on my wheel was literally about 6 inches, if not less, from the edge of the cliff. And Luke just started waving his hand, yelling, stop. And, he's like, go back, go back.
What is going on, everybody? Let me talk to you a little bit about Lifestyle Off-Road. What is Lifestyle Off-Road? What do they do? Well, let me tell you, they make custom t-shirts, they make custom graphics, stickers, you name it. They also have their own line of clothing. I wear a lot of it, man. I personally like their designs and what they do and how they support, the off-road community and especially the Nissan community. So if you need something from custom stickers, I love you grandma, whatever you want to put on your car, maybe family reunion t-shirts, maybe t-shirts for your club or event, give them a shout over there at www.lifestyleoffroad.com or check them out on Facebook at Lifestyle Off-Road. Be sure to tell them the NNP sent you.
So, Luke was telling me to go backwards. And after that, we got out of the trail and I don't know, we went to Knoxville to pick up the parts, and I found my power steering hose for Joel. We found all his axle parts, and we drove back, and we were there.
Is that when Joel, the drive shaft broke inside the diff?
Oh, yeah, he broke internally, and he broke the diff gears itself.
Yeah, poor Joel has the worst luck ever.
Oh, dude, him and his axles are just something else, man. But surprisingly enough, he drives that truck really tough. He drives the hell out of that car.
Yeah, no, he's a good driver. It's just seems like he has the worst off-road luck ever.
Oh, every time. Actually, this year, 35. What happened? He grenaded the right. Literally, it came out and
I heard it. It exploded. Bearings going everywhere.
But not only that, it broke in the inside. On the outside, both destroyed. Literally nothing was left. Huh. There was just a shaft. That's all we picked up was just a bar.
The rest of it's in Windrock somewhere. Go find it.
Yeah, no, he has it. He has it as a trophy now.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, but it was crazy.
So like you said, your confidence was building. You got real comfortable with your setup. So now what that kind of takes us to, you're planning something different with your truck, right?
Yeah, I'm absolutely planning. I've had my setup. So quick reference on my setup before I go to this subject. I have real stiff springs and really soft shocks. Kind of different from what a lot of people like to do. I just find it a little bit better for me. Everybody has their own little driving style. Right. But I think for all around, especially comfort I used to drive this every weekend, 4 hours, 500 miles a weekend. So I wanted to still be comfortable, but at the same time, be really flexible off-road. So I'm running 2-wheel drive rear springs, like the Xteras. I think they're like half an inch longer than the Xteras.
Right.
But really, soft shocks, so I could still flex around, and it's not giving me a resistance or pushing my truck around. So I ran that setup since 2012 up to now, so about 5 years. But now, 5 years in the making, ever since I did this, I still regret doing that to this day. I should have taken all that money and done the solid axle swap I am currently doing right now.
Right. And, that's something I've told many people. 2-wheel drive, or my buddy Zach out in North Carolina, I think he's at. I told him, I was like, dude, don't convert. If you're going to do it, yeah, you need the transmission and stuff. But other than that, yeah, sass it, man.
Solid axle swap. I mean, it's kind of... I like the flexibility. Every single time I go out there and I see solid axle trucks, I'm like, wow, this is so cool. But my thing is, I know it's kind of weird and people think, oh, yeah, right. I don't find the solid axles, like as much as fun it is, as cool as it look, that's not why I'm doing it. The reason why I'm doing it is because I find it a challenge and I wanted to do something different to my truck.
You're just bored with the truck, I know.
I got bored and I was like, I want to do something different, but I don't want to just buy a Cal Mini or Rugged Rocks. I want to make my own.
Right.
I like certain aspects of all these kits, but I don't like them all. So I want to do something that's different, something that's my taste, but I want to build it myself. So I just I'm doing a 3-link, but with radius arms, and they're custom radius arms, and with all kinds of parts. But I'm also setting up the truck in a way that I could still, if something were to explode on my diff, let's say my differential breaks in half, and if I can put a Dana 60 under, my truck will be designed the way I'm being an engineer, designing it in a way that it's modular, that I could just swap a Dana 60 in there without an issue, without much work to it. I'm also setting it up in a way that I can do a 4-link rear suspension.
Well,
so I'm not just doing the front, I'm doing the rear the year after.
Right. So it sounds like you're going to be very, very flexy too.
Oh, that's my goal. But the thing is, I'm going to, you know what? Let me not give too much away, but I wanted to be a surprise for next year's podcast.
That's next year's podcast with Nestor.
Next year's podcast, we'll see it. But I'm going to try to keep it as stock looking as possible.
Mm-hmm.
And I know for a solid axle, that's very hard to do. But my goal is to keep it very low to the ground.
Right.
And still look. I don't want to change the look of my truck. I think many people out there have seen my truck and it's kind of different from other people's. So I want to keep that look because I don't want the truck identity, or at least my truck's identity, to go away. Right.
And you sound like kind of, that was my approach with mine, was when I sassed was I did it because I got tired of replacing IFS parts. And it was that. Other than that, I would still be wheeling my old Xterra IFS, and just I had a great time. I wasn't looking to amp my challenges up or anything like that.
I know what your problem is. You didn't get the right mechanic.
No, but I'm saying is like you said you ran that setup for 5 years, and you're kind of getting bored and wanted to mess with your truck again. But I think. I think most people go about the SAS thing the wrong way. They want this big monster-looking truck, and they want to throw 37s under it. And now, granted, I wanted a larger tire because I knew the obstacles. Since it's just a toy truck now, I knew the obstacles I was going to take it on, and so I didn't want. But like you said, you want to keep it low. And I've only seen one guy be able to do that, and it's a guy out in Colorado, into the Denver area, and he runs 35s in his Xterra, and you would never know it. Because he did his SAS and he kept it so low, but he's great on the trails.
Well, see, I'm trying to do a little bit something else different because granted, I don't have to do this.
Right.
I'm only doing it in my truck for 5 years. Knock on wood. I rarely have ever changed the parts. And I'm not exaggerating. This is not a joke. I've only changed the ball joints once since 2012. And I've only changed one inner tie rod and one outer tie rod. I haven't changed nothing else. Literally since 2012, the setup has not changed. I haven't even changed the shocks.
You never had problems with your center link or anything?
Never. Never. So what I did is I went preemptive. As soon as I bought the truck, I knew that was one of the faulty things. So I changed the center link to just an OEM aftermarket one. But I just bought the regular one. I never had an issue with it because I reinforced all the critical areas. But I'm also, again, what I always tell people, that don't know much off-roading. Granted, I'm not an expert at off-roading by any means. So, I'm not the best. Everybody's different. But what I always tell people is, like, you have to understand your truck before you understand the obstacle. If you can understand your truck, you can conquer anything because you understand when to stop, when not to stop.
Right.
So I did the same thing with my truck. That's the reason why I rarely change my parts, because I know what my truck can do and what it cannot do and when to push it to the limit.
Right. And which that's when I always see these people, and it's just a four-wheel across the four-wheel drive world. They go and buy a vehicle, and instead of learning that vehicle, they go and shove thousands of dollars into it to make it the biggest and baddest thing, and they never knew what they had, and they didn't. When they spent that money, they didn't learn what that money got them.
Yeah. It's funny. It's funny you mentioned that because I got a neighbor right across the street. He's got a Jeep by JK. He's like, dude, I'm going to be traveling. I'm like, cool. That's awesome. It's a 4x4. Let's go. And he's like, oh, what do you do? I'm like, I go rock crawling. You know what? Not even that. I just go anywhere. If it has rocks, great. But if it doesn't, let's go through a river. He goes, oh, no. I'm not going to do that. I'm like, dude, you just put in 35-inch tires. You have a full, basically, roll cage because he changed all the cage stuff. He put a winch bumper. He's ordering the winch now. He's putting all this stuff. I'm like, dude, you're not going to use that stuff. Like, you go to the beach.
Right. But see, that's where I think the Nissan guys, like, the community's so strong. I mean, it's a small community, but it's strong because most people have to engineer how they want to do something. There's not a lot of options out there where the Jeep guy can go and there's 25 different bumpers you can easily sling on it and get them the next day. For us, if there's a manufacturer that builds you something, you're going to wait a while for it. Yeah.
No, I mean, granted, everybody has their look. I don't discourage that. But, when you say, hey, you're going to go traveling, I'm going to go off-roading, I'm expecting you're going to take on any obstacle. But if if you're putting all this, I think, well, I guess I'm cheap. And I'm, old school mentality that, like, I use my car as a tool. If I'm going to go off-road, I'm going to prep it for off-roading. But if I'm going to use it every day on the street, there's no point in me. Okay, I'll put a little nicer tire on it, but that's it. Yeah,
why go wear out mud tires? That's my number one pet peeve, man. I see all these Jeep guys, and I know Nissan guys and Toyota guys the same way. They go and spend all this money on these expensive MTs, and just the highway wears them out,
Yeah. You hear it down the road, wah, 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 wah. But next thing you know, you see a shiny, glossy, SEMA-looking truck. Yeah.
And then in a couple months, when you've wore those poor tires out, you see them on Craigslist, and they want $1,000 for it.
That is so true, man. You have no idea how much I see you at.
Oh, I see. Yeah, trust me, I see it a lot here too. So.
Man, that's funny.
Well, so you I will say you are a winter, or however we'll come up with that. We've somehow tricked you into being a trail leader for us now, and we always get good responses from the people that are with you. What do you see? We'll say versus each other. Like, of course, the Xterra seems to be kind of the. It was built as the off-road thing that Nissan was building, but you're a truck guy, man. What are your pluses and minuses from the two, since you've had a good chance to watch both vehicles?
I guess, first and second gens is my biggest difference, more than the actual Xterra or Frontiers. When I trail lead, I look at whether it's a first gen or second gen. Me being a first gen guy, completely different suspension, completely different articulation, completely understanding of how that truck moves. Second gen, doesn't matter if it's a Frontier or an Xterra, it moves very similar. The only difference is a 6-inch wheelbase. So I really don't look at the wheelbase as much as I look at the movements. Pros and cons. I got to give it to the power of the second gens. It's really cool. Like, it has a lot of power. I can just see it kind of like hug everything and not worry about it. I do not like the rear axle flexibility. Yeah. It drives me crazy because you have like a perfect line, you're going everything, and your limiting factor is your rear axle. Like, it doesn't articulate enough.
Right. You're dragging over everything because you got no flex.
Right. And it's not just for the Xterras, it's for the Frontiers too, for the second gen Frontiers. They do the same thing. For the, first gen Xterras and Frontiers, that rear axle likes to move. It just goes up and down, likes to tuck in and out. Like, it's just a little more flexible. So to me, that's their biggest pluses on, first gen takes it all the way. But I don't know, when I'm spotting someone, especially, first or second gen, or even a Frontier or Xterra, I got to understand also the driving habits, compared to that wheelbase. Let's say you have a Frontier, and if you baby it, you're going to get stuck. Yeah. You have to wheel it a little bit harder because that 6 inches you need a little more momentum to keep that 6 inches from holding you back, because, especially for stairs. Stairs are a freaking nightmare for us Frontiers.
See, I would disagree with that, though, a little bit, because I've seen where that longer wheelbase, I mean, depending on the spacing. Right, exactly. I've seen where, and that's when I liked my truck a lot sometimes, is because I felt like now getting in a hole. My first year with my Frontier, I ripped the rear bumper off,
that.
Just because I was used to that exterior, that little bit shorter wheelbase, but as far as
the wheelbase, that's just the back. The back is like.
That's right. Yeah, the little bit longer of the.
That bumper's hanging out like, a freaking sailboat in the back, like a boat. It's just grabbing everything it goes.
And that was one thing I've always been jealous about Toyota. They, if you look at their rear bumpers, they're always tucked into the body.
Not only that, they're really high.
Yes.
Yeah, they're super high. So, I mean, that one gives a lot more clearance.
So, Nissan with this next Frontier, come on, guys. Tuck that bumper a little bit.
But, yeah, I think that, off, trail, spotting someone, if I see a Frontier coming in, people have been with me. You'll hear me go, 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 go. Like, don't stop, don't stop, keep it going. For Xterras, I can get a little more flexible with them. My biggest worry with an Xterra more than a Frontier is that they're so top heavy. Yes. Sometimes I get so nervous when that put them in, sometimes you have to put a vehicle offset angle, and it's kind of get you nervous because they like to rock a lot more. So I'll give that one to the Frontiers on that one. But Xterras overall, I drove Joel's Xterra this year because my truck, unfortunately, with the scenario with my tow rig.
Yes, your tow rig limited your toy rig.
Yeah, so I have a GMC I bought for dirt cheap. It used to be a customer of mine. And me being, Mr. I'm not afraid of anything on my truck, I changed the rear differential. I put a 373 from a 323 gear. For motor towing capacity, I changed to an LSD. I did a whole bunch of little things for it. I put a bigger oil cooler. But the biggest issue is that I couldn't program the truck to the new differential. And because of that, my ABS was going crazy. My gas mileage was going out of whack. My truck thinks it was overheating when it wasn't. So I was like, screw it. I'm going to park it on the side. And I'm just, hey, Joel, let's go in your rig. I got the trailer. You got the, your truck. Let's go up there. And he goes, okay, screw it.
Yeah, but Joel's always drove up, right?
Yeah, every year. This is the first year he actually went up, and that's because I had the trailer. Other than that, he was going to rent one for like $700.
Which the trailer ended up, we'll get to it in a minute, the trailer ended up really saving you guys.
Oh, absolutely. But yeah, like, so we went with his car up there, and I drove. He's like, dude, you're the trail leader.
Toyota.
Exactly, a Tundra. He betrayed us. But we went up there, and I drove his Xterra. He was like, dude, you're trail leader. I'm like, I'm okay with the passenger side. So he's like, no, drive it. So we went up 35. Granted, you know, Dave, a couple years back, we ran 35, and it's challenging. It's not an easy thing.
Yeah.
Having poured the day before, it made that thing a sloppy mess.
Oh, yeah. This year's went was like, let's see, Monday, probably Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday. It was just downpours the whole.
It should have been mud day.
Yes.
You know, crazy Tuesday, and you know, so like it was just kind of sloppy. So I drove his truck up there, you know, and as I'm driving in it, I understand now what you Xterra guys, you know, how you guys are. It's just like I could feel the tires, I could feel the locations. It's a lot tighter. I can kind of do things without putting a lot of gas into it. I get it now. Now, you know, even that gave me a lot of insight on, you know, how to become a better trail leader, just because now I understand how an Xterra works,
right, rather
than Frontier.
Well, and that's how I approach trailing too, is just understanding the dynamics of that vehicle, you know. And you always see these rollovers in Moab and all these places, and I don't think a lot of these guys at trail leader really understand that. And you know, talking to you tonight, like, this is some of the conversation we've never had. Some of this conversation, and knowing that you're paying attention to that, man, that's awesome. Because for one, us with Went, we just don't make anybody trail leaders. We just don't find somebody and go, hey, you seem responsible. But yeah, and of course now you get an experience of Gen 2 Xterra a little bit. Yeah, you kind of feel the difference. And I will say one thing back to, you were talking about the power they have. I will say that the 4-wheel drive system in that is so garbage compared to the Gen 1.
Thank you.
I don't know if you've ever noticed, like, it, for all the power it has, it seems to, when you put it in like 4-low, it just doesn't seem to get there.
No, it feels very delayed, very sloppy. I don't feel like it's, I don't know, like I press the gas and I feel like, I don't know, something's off.
Right. Where the Gen 1, of course, it was a rougher truck, you know. I mean,
it's a design from the 80s.
Yeah, that frame was from the 80s. It's basically a hard body frame almost, you know.
You change it much.
Yeah, and that's one thing I always liked about the Gen 1s was, even though the motor's very underpowered for the weight of the vehicle, you can hit high RPMs in that thing and really get into it. And I driving Kelly's Xterra, you get into some mud situations where you really need some wheel spin, and I just never felt like it just doesn't have it compared to the Gen 1.
Yeah, well, also remember the torque. Well, me being a nerd, the torque graph, and you know how when the torque comes in for a Gen 1 versus a Gen 2. Again, depending on the mods, the average I've seen over the years, the torque starts building really well for Gen 2 is around 27 to 3,000 RPMs. Really well. But for Gen 1s, it comes in at 1,800. Like, it's a torquey motor. Like, it's designed for low-end torque. It's not designed for a high-end speed. That thing is a turtle. Right. You know? But when it comes to low-end power, it's there. Like, that torque at 1,800 RPMs, it's there. It's ready to go. So, you know, that one that's what I love about my first gen. It's just like, man, it's there.
Well,
I don't have to worry about it.
My Jeep buddies, man, with their little straight 4s, I used to aggravate the crap out of me, and Luke could go up these muddy hills, and just because, you know, you're wheel spinning and what you need in mud, and you're just tearing it up going up there, and these little straight 6s that they had in those things just could not get any kind of RPMs, and we used to aggravate those guys so bad with that.
I mean, always in off-road you need a torque. You need low-end torque more than horsepower, and yes, you need horsepower, but from my experience as a mechanic, as an engineer, and as an off-roader, tried and true torque will get you through most of the stuff than horsepower. Yeah. And even though horsepower is good, torque does the most. It does the best thing. So if you can put headers or, you know, long intake, like long headers, long tube headers, they develop more torque. horse, long intake runners, like that develops more torque. A supercharger develops more torque.
Yeah.
So if you can do any of those things, dude, you're set for off-roading.
Right. And of course we'll quit beating up the Gen 2 guys, but the one thing I noticed too from Gen 1 is, of course, the Gen 1's more truck-like, but even the transfer case, it just seems like the Gen 1 is geared, 4Low is just geared so much better than the Gen 2. The Gen 2 seems like it's in between the Gen 1's high and low. It's like...
Well, hold on, time out. Let me go against on this one. I do agree with what you say. The transfer case is, I think, in my opinion, tougher, more robust, and is very well geared. I like the manual shifter too.
Right.
You don't have to worry about this, lit mode. But I think the biggest thing would in power delivery to the wheels over the Gen 1 versus the Gen 2. Because the Gen 2, again, has a good motor, good transmission for what it is. But their biggest factor is their gear ratio and the differentials. Mm-hmm. They're too high. I mean, I understand it's for fuel economy, but a 323 and a 373, that ain't going to get you much.
Right.
I mean, you need what us Xterra's front gens and our Frontiers come from their 4.9s or 4.6. This is a very low end gear, so you can control the power more because it has to spin more to actually get it there.
Right.
So it's got more controllability. That's what I'm trying to get at.
Okay.
Versus the first gen and second gen, the freaking second gen is a rocket. That thing is a freaking bullet bat out of hell. Mm-hmm. But when it comes to controllability, I think first gen's got it.
Oh yeah, and I used to love my first Frontier that I had was it was an 06 2-wheel drive, and that 4-liter was like, especially in that truck, it was like a V8 basically, just with 2 cylinders cut off. And I used to love drag racing people in that truck,
Dude, so when this year, when Danny broke, I was with Tom, Luke's dad, and we were there. He was picking us up. He's like, dude, I'm just going to drive you back, because we had to leave his truck out in the middle of the trail.
Right.
But, man, I give it to Tom. He knows his truck very well because he was hauling. Like, he was going, man. He was going through these trails, like, so fast. And I'm, like, holding on to my seat for dear life. And I was like, holy crap, these things have power.
Yes.
My Frontier, if I slam the gas, I'm going like 2 miles per hour, turtle speeding it.
that is very true. And the one thing I will give them too is they don't have a timing belt. They've got a chain.
I cry every time I see that because I wish I had a timing chain.
I know they have some issues with their the guides going out every once in a while, but I'd still take a chain over a belt any day.
Any day.
Well, so this year, you came up to win, and beforehand, you would text me and was like, dude, I don't know, man. And I was like, and it really didn't dawn on me because I get in went mode and I'm not thinking about myself, but I'm involved with Win. I don't know what's going on in the world. And you're like, dude, they're thinking a pretty severe hurricane is coming. And you're like, I'm still coming up. And I was like, no, dude, you don't have to, I totally get that. I don't live in a hurricane area, but I seem to get a lot of tornadoes. So I understand like wind violence. And you're like, nah, man, I make a commitment. I'm coming up. And I was like, okay.
I don't like to break my commitments. If I tell you I'm going to be there, I'm going to be there. I'm not going to fail you.
Right.
Again, world can be burning, but in the back of my mind, I'll take care of that. But I'm still going to do the commitment. If I have to leave early, at least I showed up. At least I tried to help. And I'll leave early.
But so every time we would see you and Joel, you were looking at your phones, and I was like, man, this must, finally the reality's dawning to me like, oh, this must be something severe, man. Because I know we had several people that didn't show up from your area, and I was like, wow. And Tim Richardson, he was, dude, I think we got to board up the windows and stuff. And I was like, oh crap. So what you guys kept going, well, I think we're going to leave, what was it? We're going to leave Thursday. I think you kept saying, or Friday, yeah.
No, Friday. We said Friday the first time, and we're saying, oh, well, no, let me take that back. When I texted you before when I said, we'll leave Saturday, and you're like, perfect, that's good. Then I think like a day before went, I said, dude, I think we're leaving Friday. He goes, and then that's when you were like, okay, maybe we have to find a trail leader for your group, which... Good job, Holden. Good job, Holden. You took my trail strong.
He took it strong and put the Dawn in a ditch.
Yeah, man. That's my trail. That's what I like to see.
Yeah, when you're not there.
But so we were seeing. So my family, I'm from Puerto Rico, so they were kind of hit with the storm first, and they were like, "Yeah, it doesn't look very good. This is." Category 5, and for you guys that aren't from hurricane zone areas, Category 5 is a catastrophic storm. Doesn't matter what you do. It's kind of like an F5. There's nothing. Mm-hmm. You're talking about damage, unbelievable damage that you can't ignore.
And what was the name of this storm?
Hurricane Irma.
Irma, that's right.
Yeah, Hurricane Irma. So, and the thing about Irma is that it was very steady and it was not divergent. It was like, I'm coming through you, and I don't care what's in front of me. I'm going to go through you, and this is the way I'm going to go.
And it didn't slow down either when it came through you.
No. Well, the thing is, it was a steady, 8 miles per hour traveling, but the wind speeds at one point were 185 miles per hour.
Yeah.
I mean, that's stupid. And the storm was 400 miles wide. And the wind, the hurricane force winds, were felt 50 to 150 miles away from the eye wall.
Right.
So you're talking about, this is a monster storm because of the hurricane factor. So we're worried, okay, it's not changing. Okay. And then when my family texts me, he goes, this is hitting. It's confirmed. It's going to go through Miami, right up Orlando, where I'm from. And I'm like, crap. With that big of a storm, I don't care if it hits Miami at, 1 o'clock in the morning, I'm going to feel that hurricane force wind already, even though it just landed into Miami. So I knew that I was going to have an issue.
Right.
So Joel, he's gone through hurricanes before when he was younger, but in Florida, every house is like a freaking toothpick. Right. I hate the design here. It's like... You blow on it hard enough, it might fall over, It's just that's what scared me the most out of all things. My house that I live in now is brick. Mm-hmm. So the floor is brick, just the roof is wood. So I was a little more confident, but for my other family that their houses are wood, I was more concerned with them. I was more concerned with that. And Florida gets hit with hurricanes all the time. But when you have this monster Category 5 hurricane coming at you, you have to prepare because you're expecting the worst. Not only that, the power outage, at that level of storm, you're talking about a week plus.
Well, and what may not be known too is there was a hurricane, a week before that, it just came through the Texas area. And so supplies and stuff were really starting to, and I know you're hundreds of miles away from that one, but the supply chains and stuff start getting dwindled off a little bit.
Right, because, I've gone through a lot of storms. I've gone through a lot of catastrophes. I've been in the Alabama, Tuscaloosa F5 tornado. I was there, or F4 really. But I was there when it happened. I've gone through at least, and this is not an exaggerating number, around 17, 18 hurricanes, some of them being catastrophic. Mm-hmm. So I understand what it is. When a Hurricane Harvey hit those areas, I understood their pain. I understood what they were going for. I've been in situations that I was 3 months without power and a whole month without water.
Wow.
We were scavenging water from rainfall. So I know what they go through. And when people say, my family was texting me saying, I cannot get water. I can't even get bread. There's no bread. There's no water.
And this is before the storm.
Right before the storm. You're talking about 3 or 4 days before the storm. There was no water. There was no bread. There was no gas. Every time there was a gas, gas comes in, it was gone in an hour. Mm-hmm. There was nothing. So I was freaking out because in Tennessee, there's all these supplies. And I'm like, how can I get all these supplies over there? So I'm like, let me just get what my close family needs, which was, I grabbed whatever money was in my savings account, I pulled it out, and I actually said, you know what, let me go buy at least 20 cases of water if I can.
Right.
Whatever my money can buy, and some food, and just bring it down. And Joel had family, and he said the same thing. He's like, you know what, let's just cut. And then our friend Renee was with us, and his family was doing the same thing. They were all worried.
Right.
So we just kind of scrounged our money and just said, let's just go. Let's just cut our losses. I came to Went. Yes, it wasn't what we wanted, but safety is first.
Right. You got your T-shirt, man. We know.
Yeah, exactly. I got my T-shirt. I got to go home. That's all I care about. But, at that situation, I don't blame anybody for leaving. I'm one of those guys. The only thing I felt bad is putting you guys in that situation.
Oh, Lord no. We didn't.
So, again, I don't like to be irresponsible, but, at that kind of situation, I had to leave.
No, that wasn't being irresponsible. That was being irresponsible, man.
Yeah. So, some people look at me as a nice guy, but that's just. Well, that's the way I am.
Well, but in some ways, of course, I told you, hey, man, you don't need to come up for this, but. And maybe it was in the back of your head, maybe it wasn't, but in a way, it was a blessing that you did come up because you guys were able to get these things that you couldn't get down there.
Every day, I think that I made the right decision to go up there. Right. It's like you said, there was no plywood. Mm-hmm. I had to bring about 1,000 pounds worth of plywood all the way down. And I put it on the trailer. So here comes to the trailer part. I bought this trailer for Went this year. I bought a $4,000 trailer to go to Went. Like, this is going to be my tow trailer. I bought it even longer. I bought an 18-foot trailer. Like, I didn't need to buy that long, but I just bought it just because of extra room.
Right.
So I was extremely surprised because of the situation, how much I really needed that. Like, everything kind of fell in place. It was meant to be. We went up here to Tennessee, and thanks to everybody who donated all those waters. I'm gonna say that out. Everybody who donated water, you have no idea how much you guys have helped, because when we came back with that much water, we gave at least 2 to 3 cases of water per each family that did not have one. We didn't save, but we helped around 26 to 27 families that did not have nothing. Right. Zero, nothing.
Well, next year we're gonna fill you up with peanut butter if this happens again, because I didn't realize till you were like, yeah, my family, they wanted peanut butter, and what else? There was something.
Yeah, it was like peanut butter and bread. The biggest thing was bread. Everybody was like, I want bread. So
wasn't there? It seems like there was something just strange that somebody wanted.
Yeah, and it was kind of strange, but everybody was giving me the request. I just kind of tallied it up, and then some people donated to the thing, and I took all that money. I put it in my pocket, and I went straight to Walmart, and I bought all the food I can out of that. And I put more money into it. I bought about $200 worth of food.
Right.
That were that were non-perishable, that they can last a while.
Right.
Because there's not going to be food. There's not going to be power. I mean, I was out of power for 4 days. So, I can only imagine some of my friends were out, and some of my family members were out of power for a whole week. Mm-hmm. So not having power, all that spoiled food kind of put a damper. So all the food that I gave them kind of helped them out. So yeah, and of course we got a lot of the people to win together, and we tried to donate a bunch of water, and it was kind of funny when you guys were leaving, because I don't think we had given you money, and we were collecting money, and we're just like, here, let's just give it to Nestor, because at the time we were like, I don't know what exactly do they need. So right. and then you got talking about water being short, and I think you guys were kind of packing up, man, and me and Kelly and can't think, Tracy, we went and wiped out the local Kroger's of all their water they had. I'm not gonna lie, I started tearing up when I saw it. You did, man. It was awesome. Like I didn't even know, I didn't have words for it. I was so thankful, and I was so happy that that's why I love this community. But I was so happy. I was like, man, this is what everybody's been asking for. This is the number one thing that everybody's asking for is water. Like, they can care less about food more than water, right? You know, they have not so I have a good guy I have a relationship with at O'Reilly's who helps us out all the time. And that guy, he's a single father, you know, he's just raising his little girl. He works so much, he didn't even have time to even go get anything, not even a box of cereal.
Wow.
You know, for his kid. And he's like, dude, I'm so worried about my kid. Like, I don't care about myself. I just want my kid to have food for the, like, however many days we lose power.
Right.
So I went and grabbed somebody. I said, I'll be right back. I went home and I grabbed 4 cases of water and I gave it to him. He had none. He had 0, not even a gallon of water. Because he uses the Brita filters. But, you know, he's like, you know, you're not always going to, that Brita filter is not the best sometimes and whatever. So he's like, I need a case of water. So I got him 4 cases. That guy cried right there.
Wow.
And not only that, I gave him a couple cans of soup that I bought with the money, you know, that everybody donated. And I gave him a couple things of bread. Like, here, at least this will help you with something, you know?
Right.
And like, trust me, the sight of seeing those trucks slam to the ground with water, it's funny because, so on the way home, we left out.
So wait, but you got to explain. So my truck was the bed of it was almost completely full of water, and I didn't realize that you guys had already went and got water.
Me and Joel and Renee have bought about 10 cases of water, right? Because that's really what we afforded and we calculated for all that stuff. When that truckload came in, that it filled up the entire bed of the Tundra and part of the trailer. That did not include all the water that, you know, Rigo Nissan gave us and everybody that else that donated. We packed the Xterra to the absolute max where we could not fit another case of water in there. We had to pack the floor of the trailer and the interior of the Tundra. We were sitting on water bottles basically the entire
Poor
room.
Renee was in the back of that truck when y'all were leaving. I don't think he had any room to move.
Nothing. We had no room. Literally everything was on top because we were so little water. We did the math and it was around 3,200 pounds of water. Like, not including the 1,000 pounds of wood that I had in there. Or our gear. That was just water.
Yeah, because you had guys had gear to be there anyways to camp or whatever y'all were doing, and
so we had gone. You know, I did a quick math and just in the ballpark on the way up here, we were around 7,500 pounds. You know, when we left, we were over 11,000, like very easily, like in just weight, not including anything else, just in weight alone. Without our, you know, with our gear and all, it was around 11,000 to 12,000 pounds. We were way over the capacity of that truck.
Well, my buddy with the Toyota Trucks and Trails podcast will be happy to know that the Toyota was able to barely get it there, because you guys said that it was a slow ride though, right?
Oh, dude. So we left around 2:00 in the morning. We got there. It should be a 12-hour drive. We got there at 9:00 at night. Because we actually had to stop because we were exhausted from off-roading that day and keep going. But we could not go over 50 miles per hour. That thing it looked like a snake as soon as that thing started swaying. We were going left to right, out, you know, lane to lane. As soon as we passed 50, that went crazy. So we were, you know, babying it all the way home. We also didn't want to stress the truck and break it.
Well, how... I can only imagine the looks you guys got rolling in with all this supplies too.
Okay, I gotta tell you something about that one. So as we were passing Georgia, we were in South Georgia. We're going 50. We seen these like F-250s the exact same way, but with like dump bed trailers packed with water. Like, these guys must be like 16,000 pounds of water, and they were hauling ass back.
Wow!
Like, these guys. I don't know how many trucks of those we saw with trailer and water, but there was like big trucks just like us. But I mean, they weren't towing an Xterra, but they were just towing a trailer with water. Like, literally, they were going back to Florida. And they all have Florida plates, so it's like they kind of came up to Georgia to grab some and came back.
Right.
So the looks that we got, we actually had to hide a couple. You know, we had to put a cover over them because we were like, man, if anybody sees us, they're gonna try to snatch. Because there was no water. There was really no water.
Oh yeah, I can, and of course with the wood you guys had, and I know, Home Depot's always stocked up here, but you give it a reason to you need to cover your wood.
Go away.
Yeah, that wood goes real quick, man.
Yeah, man. It just, blink of an eye, boom, gone.
Well, we joked with you too. We were like, Nestor, we don't want to see you on the side of the road, $40 a case of water. Like that, you've seen that guy in Texas doing that stuff.
I almost thought Nigel's playing. No, I wouldn't do that. No, not. Again, I come from. I've had bad experiences, throughout my life. I know what it is to go through hardship. The last thing I need is to do that, to put more hardship on someone. Like,
right.
I've always been that kind of guy that if you need help, I'm going to drop what I'm doing. I'm going to go help you. So This is my way of giving. Not only that, I also helped you guys help the community back. I wanted for us to spread.
Right. No, and that was the thing, man. I mean, yeah, I know gathering all that stuff, it was like, well, we're helping our family within the Nissan community, but then when you called and texted me and was like, dude, you won't believe how many families we were able to help with this. And of course, we don't do it to, look, we helped all these families.
Right. No.
But it was very, I shed a tear about it, man, because I was super happy that, for one, not that it's not me organizing like Win or anything, but it was just the fact that people, in the worst of times, people will rise to the top and try to do the best,
Right. And that's what I did. Actually, same thing I did when Alabama, the tornado hit. I grabbed my truck, I grabbed the shovel, I grabbed the machete, I grabbed my chainsaw, and I drove around. And I see if anybody needed help. And that's literally what I did right afterward. As soon as the storm cleared, I went and checked on my parents, I checked on my family, and then I went to go help on my neighbors.
Right.
Like, I knew, at that point, you don't care. It's just make sure that everybody's safe. It's just, I don't know, for me, it's the right thing to do. But I don't know, it's just like, when you see that kind of stuff, you kind of get motivated to do that.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people don't, but, to me, it's like yes, let's go help people, let's go work, let's go do something, because I don't know, to me, it's satisfying.
Yeah, no, and that is it, man. And just helping people, it just makes you feel better. I don't care if it costs you something, or why do people donate to the Red Cross with their cell phones and text or whatever? Because they want to, it makes them feel good.
Right.
But when you really get your hands dirty and either it's through us donating stuff that you guys could take back, or just you literally taking it down there, and there was somewhat of you never know how people react, so there was a risk of you taking all these supplies down,
and we were ready for that risk, because my family told us there was people stealing from people's houses. Like, that's how desperate it got.
Right.
So we were ready for that, and again, take a risk. But you know what, I rather in my conscience be like, I attempted to help someone.
Mm-hmm.
Rather than, screw it, whatever. I'd rather just be able to try to help. That, to me, is more satisfying. I mean, anytime anything happens, me and my girlfriend go donate blood if we have to. We do that every single time. We do that. If people need food or shelter, clothes, we donate clothes. That's kind of what you want to do. That's the whole point of this community. That's we want to help out. That's not just having fun, but this is also part of it. Helping out is one of the things that we need the most in any situation.
Well, I really have found that the Nissan community, and I've been in other communities, but I've really found that this community takes care of its own really, really well. From it, whether it's just like helping. We've done things where we've surprised people with bumpers and stuff, and everybody got together to help pay for it. Or it's just things like this, man. I don't see that in any other community. That
Oh, without a doubt. I 100% agree with that. Like, it's kind of crazy, and I don't know. I love seeing it. Like, I can't tell you guys enough. Like, I love seeing how people in this community do that.
Right. So now if we could just get the car guys to join in. Come on, car guys. We need your help.
Yeah.
G35 guy, can you put one case of water in your car and come help?
Start pushing this. Let's spread the love a little bit.
See G35s with winch bumpers on them, and all of a sudden you're like, okay, they're kind of getting it.
The ground. They'll be real like low life kind of guys.
Well, so man, as we kind of wrap this up, you won't give us the full details on your truck, which I understand. You know, I gotta pry, but I get that. So, any other plans for your adventuring or anything? You got anything cool coming up, or has the heading west ever thought hit your?
Yes, absolutely. I've been wanting to go to Moab for a while now, but my biggest thing was I can drive up there. I'm confident with my machine that it can go over there. I mean, it's got 220,000 miles, but I'm not, without a doubt, I know we'll get there and come back. But the thing is, running that long in those rough of tires and that suspension, it beats the hell out of you. What? So, now that I have a tow rig, I have a trailer, I'm planning on it. I just don't know when. I don't know if it's 2-3 years from now after I do the solid axle swap. But it's an absolute must. I actually want to do kind of like a run. I want to do Moab. I want to do Big Bear. I want to do, the Colorado scene. I kind of want to see a little bit of more.
Well, I will definitely say from doing this with the road guys a few months ago, that could be easily done. Because I literally drove from Black Bear Pass to Moab in a day, and it was a fun drive. It wasn't like taking a highway either. We, took back roads and dirt roads and stuff.
And that to me is kind of fun. So I kind of want to do something similar to that. I just haven't figured it out yet. I have it planned, me being a spreadsheet.
I was going to say, I know you have a plan.
Planned and ready to go. Nothing ever goes as planned, but I always like to have that to at least give me a guide. Like, this is what we want to do. Whether it happens or not, if I got to cut it short, whatever, but this is our goal.
Right.
And this is how much money it's going to take, given, scenarios that emergencies happen or whatever. But I just haven't planned it right now. I'm more focused on the solid axle swap, and then right after that, we'll see. I am planning on it. I don't know. I kind of little maybe I'll give you a little tease. This solid axle swap is helping me eventually start up my own off-road company.
Nice.
That has been in the books for a while now. I have a lot of designs. I just haven't made them yet. I am actually in the process of making a couple of them. The biggest key thing is I want to do the solid axle swap to give people a better option, because my kit that I'm going to design is going to work for both first and second gen, almost part for part.
Wow.
There's very few modifications or changes that I have to do for it to work that way. We are going to experiment on Joel's truck.
Nice.
So once I get all that down, that is down the road. That is my future goal. So maybe you'll start seeing my product soon, or we'll see. But, I'm working on that. That's kind of like another reason why I am doing solid axle swap. I kind of want to help out the Nissan community a little bit more, not just the Jeepsters or the, Toyotas, Tacos, but, I want to give a little more options to the Nissan guys.
Well, your dad would appreciate that.
I want to even try to do a Titan axle swap. I want to do a solid axle swap on a Titan. So we'll see.
That's aggressive talk, man. But
I have a buddy who might do it. So
well, I know your dad would be happy that you're continuing in his Nissan passion, man.
Yeah. Right now he has a 04 supercharged Fronty crew cab. Did
he sell the Xterra that we talked about?
Oh yeah, I still have it. He had decided to keep it. He still has it.
Nice.
He got it. He's up and running right now. He's actually fixing a couple little things here and there that just, that they're not bad. He just wants to fix it.
Yeah.
Just to fix it.
He's gonna say, sounds like he's a tinkerer.
Keeping that one. Huh?
It sounds like he's a tinkerer just a little bit then. So it doesn't need it, but let's just do it.
Yeah. Well, the exterior only has 97,000 miles, 98,000 miles, somewhere around there.
Mm-hmm.
His Frontier has 236, and kicking strong, man. That thing goes like crazy.
Well, I really do appreciate you coming on tonight, man. I think this is going to be one of my longest interviews ever, man. But,
yes, breaker.
I think Holden may go down on this one. But
challenge Holden now. I challenge Holden.
No, don't do that, because Holden will want to break it. Then he's going to be calling me, going, "Hey, come on, let's do it." But I appreciate this, man, and I can't wait to see. Hopefully, we see you win again this year. But I just can't wait to see what you do to your truck, man. Everything you do is very classy and it's done right, and super excited about it. Yeah,
well, trust me, me too. I always, people see my forums about the 4x4 conversion. I want to do kind of something similar for that, for people who want to do the solid axle swap but want a step-by-step guideline, because there's so many ways of doing it. I just kind of want to help people out also to do a guideline. Right,
and it is, man. I will say, buying my Calamini kit kind of secondhand, that was a nightmare to figure out, man. So trust me, I searched in owning a forum and there wasn't a lot on there. I looked for how do you, what goes, I mean, you kind of know what goes where, but yeah, like your detailed step-by-step stuff was awesome to follow on the conversion. And of course now with, I don't know how PhotoBucket, the world of forums.
That. I know some people have wanted to. I'm doing my best. I'm doing my best.
Well, that wasn't your fault. PhotoBucket decided to kill every forum out there.
Yeah, absolutely. But I am working on trying to get those back up and running, because I know there are some people that have messaged me to say, hey, how did you do this? And I'll send them the pictures individually. But I want to get it back on there so you can at least continue that step. I think I've had a lot of feedback that it's helped a lot. I like to do it step by step. Some people are like that. I think more detail is better than none.
Yes.
So, I'm going to try to continue that. I'm trying to help, everybody out. I'm not a big forum guy, but when I do, I try to do. I was going to
say, when you do, you go big on a forum when you go, and then we don't see you for months at a time.
Yeah, I do a lot of write-ups, so if I can.
Right. Well, dude, I like I said, I appreciate this, man, and it was great chatting with you, and we'll maybe see you down the road and see what you've done.
Absolutely, man. Maybe in the spring. Who knows?
Nice, dude.
Stay tuned and find out.
Tune in next time. All right, amigo. Thank you, man.
All right, man. Thanks.
And now, ladies and gentlemen, Daniel Groders.
Nissans made me think of taking off my clothes, putting my truck in drive, and closing my eyes for you. I go on them dirt roads and wait for that sweet rain. I open up that door and find that mud that gives me.
Ding, ding, ding. I feel like I was knocked out with all kinds of information there. Nestor is one cool guy. If you're in the kind of, I guess, Florida area, and he does venture out a little bit. Check him out, man. He's on Facebook. I don't know. You never know how to like approach people on Facebook anymore. If you go, hey, yeah, just Nestor Camacho on Facebook, you'll find him. And then, this guy, some people keep their Facebooks and social media kind of personal and private, and some don't. But I just went and did that. So you're welcome, Nestor. But just knowing this guy is an engineer. And he's the kind of engineer that actually gets his hands dirty. That's what's exciting, knowing that he's developing his own SaaS. Taking a truck from 2-wheel drive to 4-wheel drive is that sounds easy. Oh yeah, a lot of the stuff just bolts up, but then there's always that thing that doesn't work. Making the 4-wheel drive work, you had to get a new transmission. Does that work? Just knowing that the guy did it, man, and he did it quickly, and then went on a long journey like he was talking about. That just trips me out because I'm, like I said in the podcast, I am somewhere in between. I have skills, but I am by no means like, I'm not going to build something from ground up. So I'm somewhere in between, and Nestor's more of that towards the end. He could just build it from ground up, and to hear people the way they do and just have confidence in what they do just trips me out. And I really appreciate that interview from him, man. It was really good. And so that takes us to, where are we going, Dave? We've got all kinds of cool stuff coming up. We've got the Hit Squad coming back, Mr. Frontier, Xterra, Titan Squad, Titan. I can't keep up with how many names it has, but Mr. Ray Cabrera's coming back, and we're gonna do some talk about some things. Got some questions for everybody. Ray's been itching to talk some Nissan again, so we thought, hey, why not? Let's bring him back. It's been a while, over a year or so. Let's have Mr. Ray back on the show. And man, people are dinging me like crazy. What are they wanting today on the old book of faces? So, which leads me to Amazon.com. I know we bug you guys about it, but this is like our only source of food right now between the random ads we post. This is what's keeping the podcast afloat right now. So go to Amazon, or actually go to Nissan Nation Podcast, if I could say it. I'm trying to be all professional here and I can't even talk. So go to nissannationpodcast.com. Scroll to the very bottom. We don't pester you on the website with a bunch of ads. If that's how you listen to the podcast, you can listen to it there. But just click the Amazon link. That's it. Do your shopping. Buy that 100-inch plasma TV or whatever you're buying. Just buy it through there, and we get our beaks wet with that a little bit, guys. It doesn't cost you any more. You could go to the normal Amazon site, do it the same way. You're going to see the exact same price. But it allows us to earn anywhere from 2 to 5, 6% of that purchase that you make, the total purchase. We get a little percentage of that. And why? It's because Amazon likes us. They're like, hey guys, we know you and Danny are a big deal. We want to give you a little bit. No, really, what it is they just want to know where you're shopping from, your interest basically. And if you're listening to this, your interest is Nissan. Hopefully it's not Toyota. If that is, you go to the Toyota Trucks and Trails podcast. My buddy Jason will appreciate that. We've got this nice partnership going with our DRB and KGB media. But just go there and purchase whatever it be, man. Dog food, cat food, batteries, swing set for your kids. Whatever you would buy. I know Amazon's getting to be like Walmart. You just buy everything there, or we in the States do. So you just go there, make your purchase, bam, it's at your door. You'll never hear from us. We're not selling your information. We don't even get your information, honestly. We, though I do get this fun thing where I can actually see what, not individuals purchased, but just what I'm credited for. And, it's always interesting. I will say that, man. I don't blush much, but sometimes. But just go there, show us some love, buy something. Hey guys, nothing is too big, nothing is too small. So don't feel like my purchase isn't worth it. Show us some love. And to showing love, I want to say a couple shout outs, man. I want my buddy Luke Pankow over there at Lifestyle Off-Road helps keep the pirate ship here afloat. You need anything. I know we're going to have Luke on hopefully soon to talk about 515 Racing. It's a new company he's involved with. It's really, really cool. I don't know. I just can't explain it right now. I don't want to get into it, but, hopefully that's coming up. He was at Went with his 515 Racing truck, the tow rig, and oh my God, it was amazing. It was amazing to see it. That's probably the nicest tow rig I've ever seen show up to an event. But we've got that. Give a shout out to my buddy Corey Sane over Insane Fab there in Thornton, Colorado. If you are in the area, you need something custom built, go see him. He just opened up a brand new shop, and we're gonna have Corey back on to talk about that in a little over the next few months, because I'm very interested in to hear how the new shop's working out. You our buddy Holden, Regal Nissan, the Holden family, the Scott family. You need OEM parts, man. Go give those guys just a chance at your business. They've got all kinds of cool. I know they do stuff for clubs. They're the title sponsor for the 2018 Windrock. And you're like, yeah, Dave, great. Your event again. We know about it. So I'm not gonna wear you out with that. But that was a big thing for them to jump in on that. Much appreciated. You need aftermarket parts. Go see our buddy Meisner, the Meisner at nistechlifts.com. You need to do something fun with your truck. Go see him. Cars, sorry guys, you car guys are hard to you're hard to get in and talk with. I need to talk with our buddy that had the G35. He put the Titan engine in. He's had a good 2 years now of driving that thing, so I got to see where it's at. He was last time we talked to him, he was kind of doing that. He's going to shake it down a little bit, and we've just both parties have been busy and can't talk to him or talk to each other. But yeah, car guys, nissannationpodcast at gmail.com, man. Hit me up. We want to talk to you. I mean, I don't care if it's just some guy that just got a cool Infiniti G35, something like that. You got Z's. I just want to talk to them. I want to learn about those cars, and that's the coolest way to learn is when we all learn together. Any of you guys want to be featured on our Instagram page, use that same email, nissannationpodcast at gmail.com. I don't care where you are in the world. You send me a picture, I send you a sticker. It's that simple. And maybe we get another picture back with the sticker on the car or wherever you put it. Would love to send those all over the world. I have a special packet. Where did I do with that? Let's see. David Garcia from Victoria, Australia. Good day, sir. I've got your stuff right here, man. I've got him a bunch of stuff. My buddy Dan Cole from the 4x4 podcast, I seen one of his stickers on his, I think he's got a Patrol. And he hit me up and was like, hey, man, I can't wait for your stickers to go on sale. And I said, dude, I've told you Australians, we're itching to get your attention, man. We've got a strong following down there. I say strong, but for us it is. I have this fascination with sending something to that part of the world. It's weird because I could send stuff to Europe. You know, to me, it's kind of like America, but for some reason, Australia has my fascination. And I don't know if it was Crocodile Dundee when I was a kid or what, but Australia, I'm coming down there one of these days. We are bringing the podcast down there. So, hey, Nissan dealerships, we've had others help us out up in the States. Come on. You know you want to talk to some goofy Americans in your showroom. You bring us down, guys. We would love that. Anyways, I digress. But yeah, a couple shout-outs there. It's a shout-out episode. Who else can we give shout-outs to? Car Jeep. Oh, we always give Car Jeep, man. Much love to you, brother. I know you're in some training for the military, man. You're away from home, and you know, just like when you were in Saudi Arabia, buddy, this podcast is for you. Who else can we give shout-outs to? I don't know. I know y'all are tired of hearing my voice, so I will get off here. But I want to say thank you to everybody that makes us the #1 Nissan podcast, which isn't hard to do. But thank you all for listening to us. We do appreciate it. If there was nobody listening, me and Danny would just be talking on the phone like this to each other. The ads would be strange, like Amazon ads when we're doing that. That might be a little strange to, hey Danny, use my link. No, wait, you use my link. Okay. And we'll make money that way, but this is a labor of love, guys. We don't really make anything from it, but we just love talking Nissan. So once again, you got a Nissan want to be featured, Instagram, we'll feature we'll spread you everywhere. Like mayonnaise. We will spread you all over everything. Make you delicious. But so from everybody here, JR, Kelly, Daniel. Who else can we say? I don't know. But from everybody here at the Nissan Nation podcast, I want to say thank you. And my name is David Boyd, and we are out. Peace, everybody. Love y'all.